Hey designers, today I want to give you a walkthrough of a recent web design project that I just wrapped up. I want to give you a tour through the project and tell you about the design decisions that I made along the way. If you're new around here, then hi, I'm Charlie. I'm the creative director at ConvertKit, and this project that I'm going to walk you through is a website for creator session. It's a series that we produce at ConvertKit where artists come on and share songs, share their films, and share the behind the scenes of the making of them. And it's kind of like a sub-brand for us. So I got to explore a very different design style for this project, which was really fun. So let's get into it and let me walk you through my design decisions. Okay, so here we have the home page. Now, as you can see, the brand for this project is kind of like in dark mode in a way, especially compared to our main ConvertKit website, which is very like light and bright. One of the reasons I wanted to go for that color scheme for this is because it's primarily a video-based project, at least for now. And I just think that videos look great when they have like a dark border around them. The colors and everything within the video really pop out more. So yeah, that was the thinking behind that. Also, it just looks cool. And sometimes that's like a good enough reason as well. So for this homepage, I have up here a project by ConvertKit. I actually went through many iterations as part of this design process, as you do. And sometimes I was thinking about having the main ConvertKit logo up the top here. One of our goals with this project is to elevate the ConvertKit brand. So Creator Sessions is a brand of its own, but we want to use this alignment with all these cool musicians and artists to obviously like elevate ConvertKit as well, because it's pretty cool that we're doing this. And so I wanted it to be obvious that it's a ConvertKit project, but for it to feel like its own site as well. So I explored a few different ways of doing this. I had this at one point, but in the end I went with this idea of this bar at the top because it's something that we've done on other micro sites, which is what I call a site that is separate from our main ConvertKit.com marketing website. So on the main homepage, we start off with this super huge, impactful logo. I guess it's logo type for the series, which I really love. And it's always going to have the latest session right here to the side of it. By the way, because I didn't say it yet, this is Figma. We're in Figma. I designed it in Figma, as I do all of my design projects. So it'll always show the very latest session up here in the hero, and it'll also show the session that's coming up next as well, so that you get this idea that it's a regularly recurring thing. There's something happening, next Friday. And I use this language RSVP, which will actually, when you click it, open up this modal to sign up to the email list. It's just your way of opting in to be told about sessions coming up. But using that language kind of made it feel more eventy, I thought. That's a term now. So yeah, I leaned into it and went for it. As you can see, we're missing some real content on this page so far. That's still to come. There'll be a little blurb introducing it here, and this will link to an about page. And then on the home page, I really wanted people to just be able to dive in to some sessions that we're really proud of. And there's two core categories of session at the moment. Usually they're either a music session or they're with a filmmaker or a photographer. So I have these two carousels here which display the latest sessions from our filmmakers and photographers and from our musicians. People will be able to slide this along and just click on an artist that stands out to them. To start with, I just had the name of the artist, but I really like this idea of being able to put a little clarifier line, especially for if it's an artist that you haven't heard of before. I think this clarifying line will be able to tell you about either the genre that they're in or something about them, like, being a 3 times Grammy nominated artist that might get you interested to click on it and watch the whole session. Underneath each of these carousels, I've got this huge breakout moment where we have a quote from a session and a link to watch the session that this quote was from. This is our chance to highlight some of our favorite sessions that have taken place. Drew Holcomb's is definitely one of them. It was one of the sessions that set the tone, really, for what Creator Sessions came to be. So this is like a nice call out here, and it just looks cool, right? It looks creative, and hopefully it'll entice people to want to watch the session. And then I have another one here from Amy Vitale underneath the filmmakers and photographers section, because hers is one of our favorites in that category. I mean, these carousels are obviously they can be very automated. As soon as we add a session to the site, it can appear in this carousel. This sort of stuff, especially with a typographic layout, is not scalable. And that's why I like doing it. I think it's actually cool to have that as a moment on the site every now and then. Makes it feel more creative and a little bit more interesting, I think. You can see throughout I've made use of gradients. Like up here, there's a dark gradient at the top of the photo so that the text can stand out. Here, there's one to the side. Here, there's ones at the bottom, just so that the text has a thing to sit on. And I've alternated between using this green brand color, and on these ones I've used the dark color as the gradient. At the bottom of every page, so this is the same across all of them, this is our footer. So there's this block here which is like a promo for ConvertKit, because obviously we're a company and at the end of the day we would like people to try out our product. That's the core way that our business works. So this is promoting it, specifically speaking to the kind of type of creative who would be watching a creator session. Like we've got this cool creative photo here of Calvin, who's a musician, in the background, and then there's going to be a couple of core points about our product and how it helps you as an artist. And then this will link out to the main ConvertKit site to tell you even more if it is something that you decide you're interested in. Down here we repeat the email sign up bar, and then we have a link out to ConvertKit again and some footer links. So hopefully just from seeing this one page you can see the style that I'm going for, right? It's very like dark, moody, and using these scribbles as accents on photos, as background on text to add a bit of texture to it. And it's going to be coming in the navigation as well as the active state. We'll have a squiggle line behind it. Let's move on to looking at a page for a single session. So this is going to be really cool because every single artist will have their own page, their own session. And I loved the idea of leading with a large video, full width right up the top. This is the core action that we want people to take on the page, is to watch the session, to get the value from it, to enjoy it. And so that's why it's taking up so much screen real estate here at the top. We also would love if people shared the session with other people if they enjoyed it. So that's what this little block here does. And it's going to follow you down the screen as well as you scroll. So if you're reading the description, at any point you can click and share the session. I've also added this bit where we can embed a Spotify playlist of songs by the artist. Not only is this a great way for people to be able to access the music, if they like the artist, it's an easy way to get more of their songs. But this is a great piece of value we can offer to the artists as well, because artists are always looking to drive more Spotify plays. And so if we have this here on their individual page, hopefully we can encourage some more of that and get them those more plays. Obviously, a big change from this page versus the home page is the top navigation, the menu. This was like quite the challenge to figure out. I went through lots of different options for figuring out how to do this. Let me see if I can find some of them over here for you. Yeah, I thought, okay, maybe we keep it at the side. Maybe we just sort of like shrink the creator sessions and have it up there, because I didn't want to have the logo type quite as large as it is on the homepage on all of the subsequent pages. I try to like, what if it says ConvertKit creator sessions in the header? Ultimately, I decided on this. I decided on having the navigation become centered on all of the subpages, and so it's just the homepage that is sort of treated in this way. It's a little weird. Like, if it was a software marketing website, I would probably advise against doing this. But because this is more of like a creative experiential project, it works overall for the content on those subpages. I think this is a great example of how sometimes in design you can break the rules and do the thing that you're not technically supposed to do because it just does feel right to you for this specific project. So that's why we have that here, so that we can have creator sessions with Lynn and Stella, or, you know, whatever the artist's name is, as the introduction to the page, with easy access still to all of the rest of the stuff. But I do think this whole centered feel really does make the video stand out even more with its play button there, which is also centered. It really makes it clear that this is the star of the page. At the bottom of each description, there's going to be links to follow the artist. It'll be like a little bio thing, whatever links they want to have in there. And then of course there'll be the option to jump out and watch more sessions as well. Over here we have the all sessions page, and I went through a few different ideas for this. What I knew going into it that I wanted to have was all of the sessions that exist filterable by their category. When you click one of these, it would change so that just the film and photography ones show on the page, just music, you know, whatever. And I wanted to show all of the live sessions and then also a promo for whichever one is coming up next as well. Again, just to reinforce that idea that this is a series with regular stuff coming out. And we also really want to encourage people to be there on the YouTube channel when the video goes live and like taking part in the chat and things like that. And so this is a great way for us to try and build that up, is to treat it like an event, even though like technically it's a video being uploaded to YouTube, but it'll feel more like an event if there's a bunch of people all there to experience it together, you know? So for this one, at first I tried using the video card just like it appeared on the homepage, right? This was the style that it appeared in the carousel, if I just go up and find that and show you. But I felt like it was kind of just, I don't know, it looked like too much to be on a page. It didn't look super engaging just to see play button after play button. Obviously, you know, it'd probably be better if it wasn't all literally the same person as it is in my design. But still, I felt like this wasn't going to work for this scenario, that it was good for the carousel, but not so much for this grid. I borrowed styling from this idea of the up next card. So I had the image at the side there with the text and the watch the session at the side. I think this is better because it means that the play button, you know, won't be covering the person's face. You'll always be able to see the person there at the side. I tried something slightly different as well, but in the end decided I didn't want to introduce like a third pattern of a card. I was already sort of going off book by introducing yet another one. So yeah, this is what I ended up with, is this style of a card for the live sessions on the all sessions page, with the up next one being the same green that it is on the homepage. So it's sort of, yeah, establishing that as a pattern. This watch the session link on these cards is also a repeated pattern from the homepage, from these sections here where I had the little call outs. So yeah, that's really what I've found to be the case when you're designing a new site, is you take it page by page and establish patterns as you go. And anytime you come to doing something, you ask yourself, okay, does this pattern already exist in what I've designed before? Can I borrow from that? Or am I going to need to create something new? I've often had people ask me, actually, as a small aside, if I create the style guide before I create the design. And I don't. I definitely create the brand of this before I created the design, because I wanted to know what color palette I was working with and the overall like design style for this project. But the patterns, you know, the design patterns, like these video cards, the sharing piece, the navigation, this is all stuff that I figured out as I went. Whereas if I just decided at the start, okay, this is what a button has to look like on my site, and just force myself to use that everywhere, it perhaps wouldn't have worked out so well, you know, like when I came to needing things like this icon plus text style rather than all of them being a yellow button. So yeah, it's a thing that you figure out as you go along. Moving on, the last page that is part of the site is the schedule page. So this is going to be the dedicated place to go to always find out what's coming up next on creator sessions. And again, I've used similar styling to the up next card that you see here and that you saw on the homepage, but it's a different orientation. Is that the word? Different orientation. It's stacked rather than side by side. It's just taking up more space on the page as well. And then down here, you'll be able to see even more of what's coming up next, again, using that similar styling. And then down here is a place for us to write a bit about creator sessions and about Haley, my wonderful teammate who hosts it. There's always going to be a link to see all of the sessions as well. I decided not to have a separate about page for this because I kind of felt like the schedule and that idea of like there is a lineup, there's always something coming next, is a big part of what creator sessions is about. Instead, like we've linked to the about section in the footer, and it'll link to this, like an anchor link at this part on the page. Rather than on a separate page itself. That was the thinking behind that. You may have noticed here that all of these designs are pretty much for desktop. I haven't done a full complete design for mobile, but I did do a wireframe for it. So you can sort of see what my wireframe was in here. Just, you know, the gray box style. But I'm building this site myself in Webflow. I kind of have an idea in my head of how things are going to go when they shrink to mobile, and it's a thing that I'm going to sort of design in the browser as it's laid out, because Webflow is built desktop first, and so, you know, it makes sense to design that way as well. I'm really excited about this project. I'm really proud of the design. I think it's super different to a lot of the other things that I've designed in the past. I especially love this whole like homepage hero section, and I'm hopeful it's going to become like a really cool destination for creator sessions. It's such a cool project that Haley started, and I hope that this site will give it its well-deserved online home and just become the hub for this project. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it grows as a brand in its own right over the next wee while too. Hope you enjoyed seeing this walkthrough, hearing about my design decisions. I actually streamed the whole design process for this site over on Twitch. So if you'd like to watch the replays of those videos to see the full process, like in all the detail, then I'll leave a link below to where you can watch replays of those on a separate YouTube channel. But a benefit of streaming this process is I can actually answer the question that I know some people have probably already typed in the comments, because I get it on every design project that I share. People want to know how many hours it took me. So I know that all up, this was about 7 hours of design time. But that was spread across 3 different sessions, 3 different days. So keep that in mind. 7 hours seems pretty short to me. I'm surprised. I thought it would be longer, but I suppose it's because I had a really clear vision for this project right from the start. And a lot of the experimentation was in the design of the homepage, and then from there, everything else flowed fairly easily. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was useful to you. If you've got questions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. And I'm looking forward to sharing this live site with you very, very soon. So thanks for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.